Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live Him Out, our podcast from Vertical Church, Ovilla. Today, I'm excited to have Denise Butler with me from North Ellis County Outreach. So we'll hear more about her ministry. So welcome to Live Him Out. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Live Him Out. I'm excited to have Denise Butler with us today. So in our area, we have a ministry called North Ellis County Outreach, and Denise is the director. So I'm going to ask her questions today and let her tell us all about the ministry. North Ellis County is one of the groups that we support as Vertical Church, and we're very excited about that because it provides some very tangible, practical needs for people in the community, but they do it by bringing the gospel into all that they do. So, Denise, tell us about the work of North Ellis County, which I know is great and big. So I'll just let you talk for a little bit. What is North Ellis County Outreach?
Okay. Well, we are a social service agency. But what really sets us apart is that we are totally faith-based. We are not government-supported in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
And that's crucial to me.
Yes.
I wanted to be on the mission field,
Wow.
prayed to be put on the mission field, and this is where God placed me.
Wow.
And so I wanted to not have my hands tied in sharing the gospel, praying with families, loving on them. But unfortunately, if you accept government funds, you cannot do those things.
Correct.
And that just wasn't going to work for me.
Yeah, sure. So I hate to interrupt you here, but tell me when you started, because I remember back when it was just a discussion. I remember when it was just a dream. When did you begin?
Well, I personally began in 1999 as a volunteer. I was asked to come and help at the outreach, and I slowly just started working more and more and more.
Nice.
But in 2000, I was asked to take over the place until they could find somebody to run it. So it's always the case when you start volunteering, you are going to stay more or do more than, but my heart was serving. And it wasn't my idea of where I wanted to be on the mission field, but it was definitely where God placed me.
Good. Okay. So I think we were headed down the path of talking about the work. So tell us about all that you do.
Yes, for sure. Well, our primary thing that we do is our food pantry, feeding families. Okay. We don't want anyone to go hungry.
Yeah, sure.
And we actually serve a large number of senior citizens right now that are on fixed income, because if they get food stamps, if you're a senior citizen, you get $17 a month to live off of.
Wow.
But if you're young moms with babies, it's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I quickly saw that the need was greater for the elderly and the disabled, that they can't change their circumstances. And their benefits are constantly being cut. Medical costs are rising. So many of them are making decisions every month on, can I buy my groceries or can I pay for my medication? So we just saw that need.
Okay.
So that's a huge one.
Yeah. So the fact that your name is North Ellis County Outreach, I'm sure you serve a variety of cities then, or people from around the area.
Yeah. Well, as our name implies, we service the northern sector of Ellis County. And many of us agencies serve specific zip codes or school boundary areas, and we do that for a reason. It's to prevent duplication from hopping. But we all work together, have a good relationship with the other directors, and we can call and talk and say, hey, have you seen this person? You know, what's up? And so that's been really good. We have a good rapport with one another, and it's excellent. You know, you don't want people hopping. You want to truly help a family that's in need and get them on their feet.
So food pantry,
yes,
which is a lot of different types of foods. I guess you're doing a lot of canned goods, but you do some others as well.
We do. We have 5 freezers and 1 large cooler. So we have a local family that's raising chickens just to provide farm fresh eggs for us. So our families are getting
good stuff.
Organic farm fresh eggs eggs. We have so many suppliers that have donated meats over the years.
Wow.
And even some of that has been grass-fed.
Yeah.
Many of us can't afford
Wow.
that. So
Sure.
we've just found a niche with some suppliers that have helped in many ways over the years. But toiletries is a large item for us because families that do qualify for food stamps, they can't buy toiletries. So no shampoo, no soap, no toilet paper.
Okay.
You can buy junk food, but not
some of those necessities.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. So food and some grocery items. What else does North Ellis County do?
Well, we do a lot of a bill assistance. So utilities, trying to keep lights on,
Yes.
trying to keep gas on. And we definitely see influxes in that different times of the year. You know, for our seniors, the heat in the winter months is going to rise and they're going to need help with that.
Okay.
In the summer months, we're preparing for that.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just providing a box fan for a family to help them be able to stay in their home.
Yeah. Okay. So you also have a thrift store.
Yes, we do.
All right. Talk about that for just a moment.
Yes. Well, the thrift store is a beast in its own right.
Yes, right. Yeah.
It takes the largest amount of our manpower running the thrift store.
Okay.
But literally 98% of the donations we receive are not good enough to go in our thrift store.
Wow.
So we have recycle companies that come every week. We have an 18-wheeler that comes twice a week right now, picking up bins of recycled clothing, shoes, accessories that just can't be used.
Okay. So people in the community are donating and providing. You have to go through it all.
Absolutely. Every piece
sort it,
has to
sift
be
it.
handled.
Wow.
We won't put anything in our store that's stained or damaged.
Yep.
Our store looks like a department store. We've done such a good job that people come and ask us if we have this in a size. And we're like, no, we don't.
Okay.
But my thought is that the families that I help can shop free in our store.
Okay.
And I want to be Jesus to them, so I want to give them the best we have.
Nice.
I want our store to look nice. I want the families that can afford to shop in there to have that dignity that they can provide for their families.
Beautiful.
So the store does threefold then.
Okay.
Because the families that need clothing get to shop free. You know, a family that goes through a house fire that needs to replace multiple things in their home gets to shop free in our store.
That's nice.
But the families that can't afford to shop at a regular store knows that our prices are good and they can get what they need.
Okay, cool.
So, but anyone can shop in our store.
Yeah.
Because the store is it provides all of our overhead for our ministry. And that's important. When I started at the outreach and I was told, well, you need to go out and talk to people and raise money. And I didn't feel good personally about asking them to provide money for the outreach to pay my salary. Even though it's ministry, I wanted to just serve. You know, I didn't want to get paid for what I was doing. You know, but you have to.
You have to.
You know, and I wanted to set the outreach up to provide for itself.
Nice.
So that whether it was me running it or whoever else God brought in, you know, I wasn't planning to stay. I was just going to be there temporarily.
Just volunteering.
You know, that store was there and able to provide.
Okay.
So, and it has done that.
That's awesome.
So because of that, we can promise all of our donors, all our supporting churches, that 100% of the money they give us will always go straight to helping families in need.
Wow.
It's never going to pay our overhead.
That's good. So, before we move on, we'll make sure we've covered all the aspects. So, food assistance, the store, some bill assistance as well. Is there anything else?
Let's talk about the classes.
Yes. That's one of my favorite parts.
The classes are huge to me. when we were first in our small little building in downtown Red Oak, we were just stepping all over each other. There was no room.
Okay.
We couldn't even allow the families to go back in our pantry and pick out what they needed because it was basically a closet-sized space.
Right.
And it just was unsafe for them to go back there and pick out. So, but I was really taken off guard when families started calling us and saying, Denise, can you teach parenting classes to us? Our kids are in trouble and we're struggling and we don't know. And yes, over the years, the school districts have set up classes in the schools, and they're excellent.
Sure.
If your child's been in trouble. But there's nothing proactive to help them ahead of time.
Okay. All right.
And so I felt like that's where we needed to start.
Nice.
Why not teach some parenting classes? Why not teach these families about love languages?
Yeah.
Why not teach them the stages of parenting?
Right.
Why not teach them personality courses?
Yeah.
Why not teach them to set some good, healthy boundaries?
Love it.
Those are all bases that help us all to function in life, no matter where, whether it's parenting, whether it's on the job, whether it's, you know, whatever. They're set for life if they have these good bases.
Yeah. And you're doing it from a biblical perspective. You're doing it with Christ at the center of all of those things.
You know, we are. Because we are ministry.
There you go. Because you're not government funded. You're supported by local churches and individuals. It allows you the freedom to do that. I know that's part of your vision from the beginning.
Absolutely. And, you know, we have policies and procedures, and we operate under those. But I tell my staff continually, if we're going to err, let's err on the side of compassion. That's
good.
You know, that's where we want to be.
Yeah. So you find people that they want those classes then, right? They're asking.
Yes.
Wow.
I remember one of our early classes, Brother Nick taught for us on forgiveness, and it was huge.
Yeah.
And I could tell during the class that one of the girls was really getting anxious through the class and dealing with it. But the second week of the class, that lady came early to class. And I let her in the building and talked to her. I was like, why are you here so early? She goes, Denise, I have to tell you something.
Wow.
She said, I was struggling with a lady being mean to me on the job. But after that story of Joseph and how he had been, you know, mistreated by, you know, his
brothers
siblings and stuff, she goes, I decided I was going to use that and share that with the lady on my job.
Wow.
And she said, do you know what? We're getting along and I love my job now. And it was those kind of stories and those impacts is what gives me that push and that drive every day, you know?
So these classes then, they're not just one and done. These are... You have multiple classes. People come back.
We ask the families that we're working with to take 2 classes a year.
Okay. All right.
And, you know, for some families, they're not going to be beneficial.
Right.
And, but for others, many of them leave the classes crying, going, you know, when you told me I needed to take classes, I was really angry with you because I didn't think you could teach me anything.
Wow.
But now I want to know why. I've never heard these truths before. So that's the kind of stories that we hear.
That's beautiful. So you're not just an agency where someone comes in and they say, hey, I need some food. Give me that food. I'm out, or help me and I'll take the food and I'm gone. You have return. You have longer term relationships with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really encouraging.
You know, it takes time for people that are hurting to really open up and share with you everything that's going on. So many families I've seen 5-10 years.
Wow.
And so it just takes time.
Yeah, sure. But having the ability to meet their physical needs opens the door for you to help meet some spiritual needs.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
I mean, our long-term goal is not to just be a Band-Aid, because any agency can hand out food. Any agency can pay a bill for someone.
Right.
But if we're not truly making a difference in these families' life, we don't need to be there.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. So is there any other part of the work that we've not covered yet? That's a lot in and of itself. That's a lot.
Well, we're obviously a drop site for Meals on Wheels for our area,
Okay.
so that goes out. We do some other programs like provide financial assistance for medication.
Okay.
With the rising cost in that and a rising elderly population, they're going to need money to buy medication.
Right.
The school districts may call us and they may have a home where maybe the family needs lice medicine, or maybe there's colds and flu season and you need to buy just some over-the-counter medication. So those are always things.
Wow.
You and I discussed earlier our Hearts, Hands, and Hammers program where we can do some light home repair for the elderly and disabled in the community, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I mostly use my church groups for those things.
Right.
So it does take a little bit of work of coordinating some volunteers that maybe need to have some skills to go to these homes. But right now, more of them are doing just some lawn work for some of these elderly and disabled to help them stay in their home, and
That's
things
good.
be taken care of.
So you mentioned the funding through the Thrift Store.
Yes.
I know churches in the area help support the work as well. Talk about that for just a minute. How many churches are involved? And
I know it's over 25. I haven't counted it lately that are supporting us monthly. Most of the churches know that we're going to put people through a screening and check them out. And I think that's important. We need to be good stewards with the funds that we have and that we're not throwing away. Many people are working 2 jobs now to make ends meet. And I want to be able to stand before them and say, this family really needed help.
That's good.
But all of those money from individuals that are just sending me monthly check as low as $25 a month.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, how many Starbucks could we buy for that? So simplify it. What could you do to help and know what it takes?
That's good. And of course, I know right now hot topic is baby formula. That's probably tough for y'all as well.
Because we don't see as many families with young babies, we haven't seen that impact.
Okay.
I have seen that that's a need, and we do keep a small amount on hand in case families come in. We have had, especially through these last few years with COVID, families that have been living in hotels that we've had to provide some diapers and formula and those things. But most of that, because that's not the clientele I see on a regular basis, I share with agencies like First Look, which you guys also support.
Exactly.
So I just try to be a funnel.
Here we go.
If we get extra, if it's not something I can use, I know a Christian ministry that I can funnel that through, and I'm sending it straight to them.
That's good. It's good. So I know the gospel is very, very important to you. We talk about the classes, but I'm sure it's somewhere along the way you're making sure that these who come in, they're hearing the gospel, and you've seen fruit from that over the years. I'm sure that is a process as well, though.
Absolutely. I don't want to force my beliefs on anyone, but I always want to share what I can, what the Lord tells me. My staff and I meet and pray every morning at 8:15 before we start our day.
Wow.
And every time before we have someone sit down in our office, we're stopping and asking for wisdom from the Holy Spirit.
That's beautiful.
Show me what and how we can help these people. And He'll always show you.
Oh, yeah.
He'll always show you a way to put some form of the word into their lives. He will always provide a way for you to stop and pray for that family. And it's fun because usually they'll come back after you've met with them and said, thank you so much for praying.
Wow.
I went on that job interview and it went wonderful. I got the job.
Wow.
And so we see repeatedly that being lived out.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So I just love the fact that your ministry is to the whole person. It's not just to the physical.
Absolutely.
It's also to the emotional, the mental, but most importantly, the spiritual. You want to help people be free and fed spiritually.
Absolutely.
And the other parts really just help as an aid toward that end.
Absolutely.
So, all the more reason why we love to support the work
You
there.
know, my favorite question I've been asked over the years is, you're different. What church do you go to? And I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to tell you about my church, but really it's my relationship with Christ.
There you go.
So let me tell you about that.
Yeah, good.
And then we'll talk about plugging you in a church.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love it. So our church, Vertical Church Ovilla, supports your ministry.
Yes.
How can other people in the area who are listening, how could they help in some way?
Yes. Well, as individuals, if you want to volunteer, our volunteer application is on our website.
Nice.
We will run background checks on everyone. It's just the day and age.
Of
you
course,
have to do
you
that.
have to.
And if you have a group, if it's your small group, if it's your Sunday school class, if it's your church, if it's a service organization, contact us.
Okay.
Give us some time frames that you might be willing to work, and give us time. We love having the groups in. I just had a group of seniors this week from Ovilla Christian School.
Wow.
I remember your kids coming with Ovilla Christian School to serve in. I love it because having speakers come and speak about their mission agency or their mission is one thing. But getting your hands dirty and serving and really seeing, it's hard for me sometimes to tell everybody what I do all day, every day, because I don't know what I'm going to be doing till I get there. I don't know what family need is going to come walking through our door and what I need to be prepared to face that day. Or I don't know who's going to show up with a cargo trailer with a food we have to unload. And, it's ladies. We physically can't handle some of the jobs that we're being asked to do. And so there's always a need. There's always a place.
That's good.
There's always an opportunity.
So if someone were to come and volunteer, what are they probably going to be doing if they show up? I mean, it could be a variety of things, as I've experienced there. It really depends
on what our needs are, honestly. I mean, we've had such massive food drives the last few weeks just to prepare us for the summer months when we don't get as many drives. That I've been down on the floor every day sorting cans and dating them, because you have to keep the food in date order to get it rotated out of there quickly so that nothing is expired, nothing goes to waste.
So they could be unboxing food, shelving food. They could be going through some of the articles that have been donated. They could be sorting. Could be helping in the thrift store. Most of it's going to be with items. If they're to get to the level of, I guess, maybe meeting with other people, that's a different layer of...
Yeah, we pretty much use staff for that. That has been trained with our policies and procedures. I do utilize some volunteers to spend time just praying with families or to follow up. That is probably one of our next stages with our classes, is to have either teachers or mentors that can call and follow up with that family and say, hey, I know you completed this class. Did you have any questions about the curriculum covered? Have you been able to put it into practice? Is there some way I can pray with you to help you implement that into your life?
Love it.
And so that is definitely something we're working towards.
All right. So give us a picture of what's ahead. I mean, boy, a lot of work has happened over the years. But I know there's still some things in your heart and mind that you want to see. What does that look like?
Well, we're definitely growing. I definitely was concerned when COVID hit what we would look like.
Right.
Would we have the funding and the support we needed? Would the thrift store be able to make it and continue? What we've seen is our store sales have doubled monthly what they were before.
Oh my.
Our donations have tripled in many ways what people are donating and cleaning out. Some of that's sad. People losing their homes and having to get rid of things. Some of it's awesome that people are realizing all that stuff that they've hung on to has no real meaning. Let's get rid of it and let it be used. And so those are good things. But we're having to turn people away from donations because we don't have space.
Okay.
So we need a new thrift store building. And praise God, the property that he allowed us to purchase in 2008 has room to grow. So we plan right now, I have plans drawn up to build a new thrift store building. And it will line up with our office building so that we actually have a storefront on the main road.
Nice.
And the pasture in front of it can be turned into parking so that we have adequate parking space.
Nice.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
It's funny. People ask me all the time, can they rent some of our space? We can't be using it all. And we're tripping all over ourselves in such a short time.
Yeah.
But the food pantry, we can't walk through either with all these donations. So we will move the food pantry back to the building that the store's in.
Nice.
So that we have more space and we'll still be able to accommodate our special events, our programs, and our classes in that building as well.
Nice. Wow. So tell everybody where you're located. That they may not know where North Ellis County Outreach is.
Well, if you're familiar with Red Oak, old timers here, we're in the old Rocket Water building on State Highway 342, but the physical address is 404 South State Highway 342.
Okay.
And we do have north and south, so if you're using Google Maps, make sure you put that south in or you're going to end up in the wrong place.
Yes. So you're just south of the 7-Eleven, kind of some of that
south of
area.
the high school and just north of the cemetery.
There you go.
If you've gone to the cemetery, you've gone too far.
Yeah, in many ways. So, yes. Yeah. Well, that's exciting to see what's ahead. I know there's lots of growth in this area, and but I'm excited to hear that people are supporting. They're giving. That there's need, but there's also supply.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing. So you also have a website, I'm sure.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Is it North Ellis County Outreach or NECO?
NECOutreach.org.
Okay, NECOutreach.org. Good. So you can go there and you can see some of the things that are available. I guess if someone wanted to give, they could even give through the website. Is that an option? Or
we don't have a portal for donations right now.
Okay.
But if they can
contact you and
mail us a check.
There you go.
Post Office Box 2203 in Red Oak, Texas.
There you go.
Or come by and see us.
Yeah.
Drop it off.
Yeah. And I'm sure if someone wanted to just drive by or come in and say, hey, I just want to see what you do here so I can know how to pray and then support and give.
Absolutely.
You'd be happy to give a tour.
I love doing that. Just please call me ahead of time and make an appointment. It's just important these days.
It is.
So we've definitely added some security measures on our facility. And unfortunately, that's by need.
Yep.
But we want to be ready. We want to give people the time.
Yeah.
We want people to see what we do.
Right.
We welcome the opportunity to speak on behalf of that outreach. So if you want us to come to your church and share, we would be honored to do that.
Good.
Because it is important that people see everything.
Yeah. Well, I know as a church, we wanted to try to provide for needs within the area. We found it was difficult for us to do that by ourselves, but we found, hey, here's an agency that's already doing it and doing it at a much larger scale and can readily help people. So we direct many people
Yes, thank
North
you.
Ellis County Outreach, and we support them as well and encourage others to do the same. We get excited again because of the physical needs that are met, but more importantly, the spiritual needs are met too. So,
well, and thank you. You guys really stepped in during COVID when our orders were canceled at the grocery stores, and we were told we couldn't provide things.
Wow.
And I didn't know how we were going to do it. And I told my staff, we're going to contact all the churches and ask for help, because that's who needs the help.
Sure, exactly.
And you guys blew us away.
Wow.
You didn't do the 10 bags we asked for. You did 50, I think. Amazing response.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing us opportunity. And I appreciate you being with us on the podcast
Thank
today.
you.
I know people will be very excited to hear more behind the scenes of what goes on. They hear us mention it here at Vertical, but this would be a very practical way to hear more of the details. So,
yes, it's fun.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
So thank you. All right. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you find this helpful as we lift him up and live him out. Thanks.